My name is Bart Veldhuizen, and as Roel said, I am the founder of BlenderNation. Thank you. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about the history and the background of our website and about our future plans. Nothing too spectacular, but it might be nice to have a bit of an insight as to what's going on our end of the site. The site started as an experiment in blogging. In December, I realized that I had a website, frotfrot.com, which was still drawing lots of visitors for some reason, because I had some 8-year-old Blender tutorials on it. And I wanted to know more about blogging, so I figured, well, let's just install WordPress and see what it's all about. And I started with a comment saying, well, I'll just start something new, but we'll see where this goes. And, well, it actually went somewhere. And at this moment, it's like almost a part-time job for me to run the website. And that wasn't something I had expected when we started, but I think it showed that there was a gap in the community and we needed to fill it. When I started at that time, I made a very clear choice to do only one thing, and it was to bring daily Blender news. And that has two elements in it. We wanted to do news and only news, and we wanted to make sure that it was on the website every day. And I think that's important to make such a promise to your audience, to have something new there every day, so every time you come back you will find some new information, and as a visitor you don't have to keep guessing whether or not there will be new information on the site. A mission sounds very like managerial, and it's something that I see my bosses do at work, and I figured, well, maybe it can't hurt to do it. And actually it works really well because it helps you to stay focused. And for us that means that we can fall back on that mission when we need to make choices. And lots of people ask us, why don't you add a forum, why don't you do a user gallery, why don't you do a chat or whatever. And that's not what we do. We do news, and we don't do community services. And that makes it easy to make those choices for us. And I think it also makes it, at the end of the day, clearer for the visitors of our website, for you, what the website is about. It's not a big amorphous blob of functionality, it's just one thing, and we try to do that really well. And while we were doing it, we saw that we were in the process of building up a kind of a library of the Blender community. We're adding tutorials, we're adding artwork, we're adding information about development, about whatever we can find really, and we're putting it in one central place that you can easily search, either by doing using the search box or by using the category system that we have. And that way this was an actual comment that someone posted on the website. We're defragmenting the Blender community. And I really liked that comment. We're pulling out information from all places in the community and putting it in one central spot to find. And so we're the Blender community defragmentation software. Few things that might be nice to know. We haven't missed one single day ever since we started. And I'm really proud of that. There was one day where we almost missed posting. That was during SIGGRAPH. And Ton and Wiebren and I were having a little bit too much beer at the hotel bar, I think. But turned out that Eugene had taken over for me, and he posted that day. So I was really happy to see that we're still able to say, well, we haven't missed one single day. We have over 5,000 visitors every day, which makes us quite a large website. And to Dutch standards, we're part of the sub-top websites, which is quite impressive for just a few guys and a blog. And there are a few reasons for that, of course. I'll come back to that later. What's also nice to know is that we have 1,800 RSS readers, and that number fluctuates a little bit every day. And usually on Monday it's busiest, and you'll see that it's high. And during the end of the week it's a bit lower. But I like that number, and it means that whenever we push the button, 1,800 people will see our news appear on there in their RSS reader. It also means that our audience is very technically oriented. RSS is not a medium that's very popular yet, but in our community it is, and I'm glad we use it that way. Also for us as the editors, RSS is important because we use it to keep track of what happens on all the websites. Like I saw Matt's post appear this morning, I think right after you posted it. And it makes it easier. We don't have to read everything. We can just look in our reader and it will appear there. Well, we wrote about 500 articles so far. And at this moment, we post twice on weekdays and once a day during the weekends. And there are discussions going on if we should increase that to 3 articles on weekdays and still probably only 1 during the weekends. But with our current team, this is a good number. And I think, well, 500 articles so far is quite an accomplishment. We have a core team of 7 editors. There are more people around that. Some of them are, they have been active for a few months and then they become inactive, and some just post once every 2 or 3 months. And I added the word professional because I think they are. They are very reliable, and together we work in such a way that we can ensure the daily flow of news. And people handle criticism very well behind the scenes, and we work together as a real team, and that's something I'm really proud of, that we accomplished that. Also, because we are a team and it's not just me, I wanted to introduce some of them to you. This is the list of 7 people that I talked about. Oop. It's Rui, who is in the room next door. There's Kernan Dillon, who you may know of the website BlenderNewbies.com. Tim Formica, Brian Hinton. They are both illustrators, I believe. Daniel Labarge from ID Studios, also known in the Blender community as Prince. Eugene Riley, he was with me at SIGGRAPH. And there's me. And because I don't only want to show myself, I invited everyone to make, there it is. Sorry about that. I invited everyone to make a short introduction video, and I got 4 movies back, and I wanted to show the members of the team. And it doesn't want to play because the beamer. Yeah. Maybe I can switch it. The software wants a higher resolution, or else it won't play. I didn't have time enough to create a quick time out of it, so I left it all in iMovie. Just did it this morning. Okay. Okay. These are our editors.
And I live in Portugal. I'm an editor at BlenderNation. I write mostly about development and education, but most recently I have reported also about some conferences here in Portugal and the Blender conference. Cheers all, bye.
Hi, my name is Kernan Dillon. I'm a writer at BlenderNation, and I'm really excited to be able to share with you different types of interesting things related to Blender and 3D graphics in general, modeling and animation, and I hope you enjoy it.
My name is Tim Formica, and I live in Southern California. I like to write articles about the Blender community, and in particular tutorials and animations with personal interviews. Also like to do book reviews, and there'll be some more of those coming in the near future. Thank you.
Hey, this is Eugene Riley from Gaithersburg, Maryland, USA. I've been writing for BlenderNation for about 7 months. I'll write about anything, but lately I've been more interested in the CVS commits and the CVS builds.
Yeah, sorry about the quality of the last one, but there was some codec fun going on there. All right, a little bit about how we work. We have all kinds of tools behind the scenes, like a mail list, and we use the chat. But we also have a virtual press room that we created, because we found out that there was so much information that we need to have a central place where we can store ideas for articles or links or stuff like that. So what we did is we took a bug tracker and we dubbed that our press room. And what happens is that whenever someone spots an idea or a lead or whatever, we put it in there. If another editor wants to write about it, he can assign it to himself. And when it's ready, you mark it as ready for publication. And that prevents two people from working at the same article at the same time. Especially the new stuff, the hot items, they are the ones that everyone wants to write about. And if you can see that it has been assigned, then you prevent that from happening. And we always make sure that we have 2 or 3 articles waiting in our publication queue, so that we're sure that we have enough material for the next day. And so at this moment, I think we have 4 articles waiting, but because of all the Blender conference stuff, that will appear on Monday and Tuesday, I think. This is the article bug tracker, and the colors are a bit off, but you can see that there's new stuff. There's a few articles that are being worked on by Tim and Brian. There are a few articles that are ready for publication, and they are ready in WordPress, and we just have to press the button, and that's all. And these are all the tools we need to create the website. It allows us to manage everything, and it gives very little problems for us. So there's a bit of financial stuff going on as well. We have AdSense ads on the website, and we use that to pay for the hosting and to pay ourselves as well. It's not making us rich, but it is making us a nice little extra, which is very motivating for some of the people to write for us. And what we've done is we have what we call a revenue sharing system. Every author gets 50% of the AdSense revenue, and the other 50% goes to me, because I have to pay the bills and have to maintain the system and everything. So that means that everyone who writes gets some money. If you write more, you get more money. It's as simple as that. And recently we started using Amazon, an Amazon affiliate program. Whenever we review a book, we'll post a link to Amazon. And that means that whenever Amazon sells something through a lead that we generate, we get, I think, 4% of the revenue there. And it has added up into about $50 so far. And the money we make with that can be used to buy more books that we can then review. At this moment, we have a lot of books waiting, because Tim and Brian have lots of books at home. But after that, we can buy new stuff and send it to people who want to review it. Oh, sorry. Some highlights, I think, that we had this year. The first one is that Ton agreed to have our news on the central blender.org website, which I think it was a good idea, because the news there wasn't very new anymore. And this way you have news every day, and it offloads the Blender Foundation. They don't need to maintain that news themselves anymore. And we see that about 50% of our traffic comes from the blender.org website. Then we were slashdotted, which is always nice if you're a geek. And we survived. My colleagues at work were pretty envious about that. It was always nice. We were at SIGGRAPH. Eugene was at SIGGRAPH, and I was there, and we did daily video reports, just like we are doing here at the Blender conference. And finally, we are here, talking about what's going on. So I think that in 1 year, we've already done quite a lot, and it's a good year to look back on. Sorry. The next thing we are planning, we haven't been able to implement this yet, is that we want to be able to offer localized versions of BlenderNation, meaning that you have multi-language news. Now, that's not going to be very easy for us to do, obviously, because I don't speak Spanish or Chinese or whatever. So what we will be doing is we're going to look for local editors, local site owners, if you like, who are interested in running a sub-site of BlenderNation. And they can find their own team of writers to work for them, just like I'm working with my team. And I'm doing this, or we are doing this, because we see that we only reach the English-speaking part of the Blender community, and there's a lot of activity going on in Japan and in China, the Spanish-speaking parts of the world, but also in Italian, maybe even German, I don't know. But we'll see what happens, and it's a logical next step, and it still falls in our mission, which is what we always look on when we make choices. And just like we share the revenue with our writers, we'll be sharing the revenue with the local editors and their writers in the same way. And the only way that I think is fair, just split it in 3. If anyone's interested in talking to us about that, well, you know where to find me. Could you go? What we need to do to stay successful is stay focused. So we need to put that mission statement over our beds and look at it every now and then. We also need to continue building our editors team. At this moment, because we are with 7 people, I write like 2 or 3 articles a week, whereas before I had to do 10 or 12 articles a week. And especially if we want to have more news, and we have a huge backlog of news. That bug tracker contains like 160 articles that still need to be written. And it's getting longer, it's not getting shorter. And my initial fear when I started the website that I had to take it slow because I would run out of news, that was quite unfounded. So it's, I would like to have more people, to have more continuity, more news. And we're almost 1 year old. So for our anniversary, we are planning a nice special action, which will have nothing to do with Blender, but which will have a very positive impact. And we'll tell you about that in January. Things that you can do to help us are spreading the word. Tell more people that it's a good website to go to. But also spot news for us. Even if you don't want to write news, you can really help by, if you see something that you think, hey, this is an interesting tutorial or artwork or whatever, just send us a link to the contact form or directly to me, and we'll do what we can to publish it. At this moment, we are only accepting new authors by invitation because we're trying to build up a quality team. So we're actively looking at other websites. And if we see people that we like Kernan, and that's how I find Eugene as well. I look at their website for a few weeks and I think, well, this could be a nice writer for me. And usually when you ask them, they will be honored to be part of the team. However, if you already have a website and you write lots of stuff and you think, well, I could do it, just don't be afraid to contact us. And this one, yeah, I was doubting if I should mention it, but if you buy anything on Amazon, whatever, doesn't have to be a book that we review. You can use the Amazon search box that we have on the books page, I think. Because I saw, and I didn't know it worked like that, because we had one book, and suddenly I saw people buying the Diablo gift set box, or the Diablo battle chest, and stuff like that. So it doesn't matter what you do, but any money that we get out of that will be spent on new books about Blender that we can read. First, I have some questions for you, before you can ask me questions. One is, what do we need to do to improve the website? I already have 2 ideas here, one technically oriented and one about content. But I'm always interested in hearing what you think is, well, not as good as it could be. And maybe related is, what kinds of news are we missing? Are we too focused on a specific kind of news, or is it, what do you think? Are we doing a good job, or are we forgetting certain areas?
Anybody?
Perhaps next time you link to somebody's websites with big movie files on it, you could offer to host them in advance so they don't have 50 euro bills at the end of the month.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's one of the effects that we don't always think about. When you publish something, those 5,000 people will click on that link. So, yeah, okay, we'll take care of that. Anything you want to know about us? Okay. Well, in that case, that's it. If you want to know anything else, you can reach me on that email address. Thank you for your time.
Actually, did anybody